Listening to Radio Sidewinder, and this is a special episode of Launch Coordinates. Recently, I asked the community to send me your merchants, send me your mercenaries, and send me your murderers. And I found just the perfect three. Our own anchorman from Radio Sidewinder, Commander Arbitration, as well as S7 from the Code, and Commander Monte Fisto from the Mercs of Mikunn, whom you may be familiar with from an earlier episode of Launch Coordinates. Since this is a round table, gentlemen, this is going to be an informal conversation. We've all gathered here in the middle of an undisclosed location. And let's just start with the pirate, shall we?
I am Commander Sun. I am a pirate with the Pirates group, the Code. We operate out of the Lathe cluster. We've been laying off the piracy lately, and we've been trying to flip systems to independence and free the area to make it a bit safer for traders. You've probably heard the term, don't poop where you eat. So we're thinking if we keep our home system safe, they'll foster more business there, and then we can go pirate in other places. The Code is a piracy group, and that's their main focus, piracy.
Well, I am Commander Monte Fisto, and I'm a mercenary with the Mercs of Mikunn. Well, you get to see exotic places, meet new people, and then subsequently destroy said new people. Participate in a lot of fun group activities like armed insurrection or forceful military blockade.
Okay, so surprisingly, it seems as though you're more bloodthirsty than our privateer friend here.
Well, you know, it just depends on the people you're going after. I mean, I don't go after unarmed traders minding their own business. I generally focus on people who are actually going to fire back. I mean, to each their own, I suppose.
So, you are a bloodthirsty kind of mercenary.
When the mood suits it.
A lot of people out there probably know that I do reporting for Radio Sidewinder, but I'm also a trader. Primarily what I do when I'm not reporting is I'm out there making deals. I'm not a member of the East India Company. I just I hang out with them a lot. I'm kind of the galactic tag-along, so I tag along with a lot of different groups. Whoever's got a spot open on their wing, and just go from there.
What are some of your favorite trade routes?
Well, I can't give you the best trade routes. Those are confidential information, but there's the Gliath 868 system. That's a great spot to get palladium, and there's some good systems to trade to out there. There's also what we call the bug route, the Bugayaman system. I think it's near the Lathe cluster. I can't be certain. That's a really good place to start out. Those are some good, solid routes. Of course, every good trader's got a couple secret routes in their pocket. And if I write those down? Slightly, yes.
He's getting some new privateering routes, too.
Uh-huh.
S7, like, how often do you wind up interdicting a commander?
Pretty often, because piracy of non-commanders really isn't that terribly profitable. They don't tend to know what they're doing. They tend to be carrying mostly worthless items like clothing or leather and whatnot. So big ticket items are from commanders. Commanders know what they're doing. They know how to get the most profit, and we know how to get the most profit from them. If you have a trader who has, let's say, he bought $3 million worth of gold, and he's going to sell that $3 million for $3.5 million, that's a 500,000 credit profit for him. However, if a pirate gets a hold of all that, he's making the full $3 million without he's making the full $3.5 million without the $3 million investment. So, pirating commanders is a lot more profitable than non-commanders. Back when I was still harmless, I actually ran into S7 in my little Sidewinder when I was trading out in the New Caribbean, and S7 pulled me over in his clipper. I wisely chose not to try and make a run for it, and negotiated my way to freedom. It's a smart thing to do. A lot of people think they can run from commander pirates, which is true to some regard, especially if the pirate isn't that well experienced. But the problem is a lot of commanders are pulled over mostly by non-commander pirates, and those are relatively easy to get away from. So the second a commander interdicts them, they think it'll be just as easy, and they just run, and that usually ends in their drives getting shot out and losing more than they would have to. I'm glad Arbitration didn't lose his ship that day. Now, just be warned, S7, I've upgraded since then, so don't try that again.
Our news anchor is pretty fearless, I suppose.
Tell me this doesn't look cool.
No, it looked... Oh my god! Under fire! Under fire!
You.
You fired a plasma accelerator round at us.
Dare you? Not at you.
Well, not at me, no. Never trust a privateer.
Not to visit a gun range with you, S7.
Being a merchant, what should a what should somebody really look for when they're outfitting their ship, when they want to make a maximum amount of profit but stay safe from, say, S7 over here?
Of course, the holy grail is the Anaconda. You want to have something that's fast, has a good jump range, and has a decent hull size so that you can carry a good amount of cargo. When you're starting out, the best thing to do is trade rare goods, because you don't need to carry a lot of them to make millions of credits in profit. You can get by with a hold of only 60, 80 tons of cargo and be able to make out like the big guys who are driving T9s.
That can be handy, as well as you can stay a little bit more well protected. S7, what kind of ship do you typically look for when you're out in the black?
Depends on what we're pirating. It's not been as profitable lately. The system authorities around the galaxy have started putting trackers on the rare goods. It used to be that you could fool the authorities, and let's say someone had some Lavian brandy that you pirated off someone, you could sell it right next door to Leasteen, and the black market had a higher demand. You could sell it almost full profit. But now the authorities are keeping watch on every single commodity, and if you want to sell something next door, you're just not that profitable. But otherwise, through routes like Glace, 868, as Arbitration mentioned, and other hot spots that I'll leave unnamed for now, and community goals. And what you're looking for there, you're just looking for anything that can haul a lot.
Basically, anybody who's looking for profit is fair game.
Exactly. A tip that I'd like to give traders is people focus too much on the gross profit that they can make, and they don't focus on their survivability. Running weak to no shields, no utilities. If you run probably just one set of shield cells, chaff, and heat sinks, you can escape from almost any pirate easily. Just a word of advice.
Alternatively, you can just go ahead and transport nothing but aluminum and cause a lot of people to have a very frustrating evening.
Or copper. Oh, God.
S7, what do you really hate to find on a ship when you interdict them?
Probably heat sinks, to be honest, because with proper heat sink usage, they can drop completely off of radar. And one of the best pirating ships is undoubtedly the Clipper, but its drawback is that it has horrible convergence, meaning you can't untarget ships, which means if someone runs heat sinks properly, and even on other ships that don't have the greatest convergence, it's almost impossible to hit your target at that point. And the second you see people dropping multiple heat sinks, you know that you're most likely aren't going to catch them unless you pull some really, really fancy tricks.
Works great in combat zones as well.
What kind of ships do you look to interdict most of the time, Monte Fisto, or do you generally just go to war?
That second thing you said. Usually anybody who's not carrying cargo is fair game. If there's, say, an effort going on to construct something, and certain unseemly individuals are hanging around in vultures or vipers or other such ships that are not very conductive, moving bulk quantities of materials, then that's usually what you aim for, since worst case scenario, you piss off somebody who's not contributing too much anyways.
Arbitration, do you ever hire mercenaries to go on long trade routes with you?
Yeah, occasionally I have had to do that in the past, especially back in my T9 days when you're basically just a big moving target. Definitely have to run protection when you're in those big bulk carriers. When you finally make your way up to the Anaconda, though, you kind of are your own protection at that point, because nothing can really hold you long enough to do much damage.
When you're in an Anaconda and you're running a huge trade route and you're full of rares, what's the scariest ship that could interdict you?
I guess another Anaconda would be the worst thing that could interdict you. In my trading setup, Anaconda is pretty formidable, but it still has its weaknesses. I'm not running the most powerful modules. I'm not running the most powerful shields. I can get away from pretty much anything else except for another Anaconda, which will hold me there because of its disruptive mass. Even a Clipper, which is really fast and quite powerful, still won't be able to do the damage it needs to do in the few seconds that I can get away from him in. Another Anaconda, if that is a pirate in an Anaconda, they're going to be running high power everything, and they could really do some severe damage. That's when negotiation skills take precedence over combat skills.
Well, because S7, you said the pirates would prefer to talk it out with their prey as opposed to destroy their ship.
It's a waste of ammo for us. It gets a bounty on our head, which adds a costly insurance policy for the trader as well as all the cargo. No one really wins if everyone resists. Although the trader usually gets the worst out of the deal. When we're out partying, we actually have someone go in an Anaconda just for the explicit reason of mass lock. They can't really do much much other than that, but they're there if you need it. And if things do go sour, then that usually keeps people from running.
Who wants to blow up all the cargo, you know?
Some people just want to see multiple tons of cargo canisters burned.
And that's not the way of the code.
No, we will never, ever kill a trader unless they're running from us or resisting in any way, shape, or form, which is not limited to turning around and firing at us with your lasers, insulting us over voice comms, and or trying to ram us. As long as you don't do any of those, you will most likely come out of it alive and, well, with cargo, but...
Hey, you guys are kind of like toll booths.
Exactly. We've always referred to it as taxing those who make a little bit too many credits.
Monte, Fisto, mercenaries have a kill-on-sight kind of policy for pirates, don't they?
They're starting a system we're hard to protect.
So if you're just floating through a different system and you notice a privateer interdicting a wayward commander, you won't intervene without the promise of profit?
No, I won't. I'm on my way to a job. I'm not going to step out of my way, because if I'm anywhere other than Mikunn, it's because I've been hired to go somewhere.
You're not the system security forces, right?
A badge. They handed me a paycheck.
What about the code? You guys kind of act as a system security force for Lave as well, don't you?
Actually, we're kind of friendly with the Mercs somewhat, as long as some of our members aren't on unauthorized pirating vessels in the Mikunn area, which has happened, but we've helped the Mercs out, like in the Lu conflict and some other stuff, and they've been friendly with us. Yeah, it's not exactly a formal agreement, but we're definitely on speaking terms, and we're definitely friendly with each other, more friendly than other groups. The code is currently at war with 11 player groups at the moment, and we're glad the Mercs isn't on that list.
Well, you guys do rustle a lot of jimmies, I think is the parlance.
Oh, most definitely.
We're not necessarily allies, but we have no real interest in fighting code right now, so...
And especially seeing how our home systems are 300 light years apart from each other, there's no reason to drag one of us over to the other ones, just play sword fighting.
Monte, Fisto, why is being a mercenary the best occupation in the galaxy?
Flexibility. You get to literally partake in every single aspect of life. You have the ability to do whatever you want. Fly like normal, except, you get paid more and you get to fly with other people doing the same thing reliably.
Arbitration. Why is being a merchant the best occupation in the galaxy?
Money, and more money. Trading is really where the money is. The great thing is about being a trader is that you don't always have to be a trader, because you can make enough money to take a little vacation from trading and go explore, go turn into some combat bonds, and then when you're done with that, go back to trading. And you get to meet lots of cool people, gives each other a leg up and watches each other's backs. It's a great community to be in if you're a merchant.
S7, why is being a privateer the best occupation in the galaxy?
It's by far, in my opinion, the most fun that you can have. Piracy takes quite a bit of skill, and you don't really find yourself staring at rocks much in piracy. You have the potential of making a lot of profit if you do it right, more than trading. As I mentioned earlier, you get experience, you get to meet new people, you get some serendipitous stuff that pops up out of nowhere you'd never think would happen. Like a couple days ago, we held a trader in a Type 9 hostage and ransomed him off to the EIC, and it didn't turn out well, but you're not going to really find player interaction like that in any other profession.
Arbitration. Would you rather be a pirate or a mercenary?
I guess I'd rather be a mercenary, just because, as Monte Fisto said, you have a lot of flexibility still in what you can do. You're on the right side of the law, unlike some of the other people at this little meeting. And you still get to turn a pretty tidy profit at the end of the day.
S7, would you rather be a merchant or would you rather be a mercenary?
I would definitely rather be a mercenary, because in piracy, although there is a trading part, most of your time is spent hanging around in super crews, hunting down targets you think would haul a lot of cargo, but at the same time, you're also looking out for bounty hunters, you're looking out for other mercenaries that are hunting you, and a lot of it is just PvP fighting, usually people who really don't like you, but that's the other fun part of piracy, that you get all that PvP experience, and it's made me a better pilot, just understanding how all the ships work, understanding which weapons do what, how to outplay other people, and you get those same experiences in being a merc. You don't really get to go pew lasers when you're taking gold and palladium from one spinning dodecahedron to another.
And now we reach Monte Fisto. Would you rather be a merchant or a pirate?
Merchant, more friends, more credits.
So it's all about the community.
I said credits as well, didn't I?
Money and...
Did I stutter?
No, you didn't stutter. I know what to expect from the Mercs of Mikunn. Big stack of cash and a whole bunch of people to spread it around.
Hell yeah.
What is in the future for the Code organization at 7?
Well, right now, the Lave cluster, which is Lave, Leesky, Diso, Riarte, and all the surrounding systems, our mission is currently to liberate them from the Alliance control. We personally believe that the Alliance has no reason to be holding these systems that are light years away from its capital, and we're just trying to liberate the systems, try to make them a little safer place to trade in, and then we'll use that as our base of operations to come back to an outfit and take our profits back while we branch out and pirate other areas and maybe hop in a community goal here or there.
What's ahead for the Mercs of Mikunn, Monte Fisto?
Sorry, I had to suppress multiple clips. Yeah. Although we've currently got about 3 systems under our control. 2 and 1 imminent, but I mean it might as well be 3. And we've also got a military station on the way, and we'll be one of the only 2 military stations, exclusive military economies in the entire inhabited galaxy. So we'll have that going for us. And we've basically been getting new members every day of the week for the past 3 weeks or so. So we've just been on the up and up.
What's ahead for the independent merchant arbitration?
More networking, and as these groups become a little bit more organized, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more construction and trade goals that are going to be put out there in the galaxy, and that just means more profit for us.
Monte Fisto, you want to put in a website plug?
MercsofMikunn@Alpha.com. Live free or die hard.
Or both.
All right, S7, you got a plug?
Yeah, we got the code Elite Dangerous, all one word, .enjin engine.com.
This episode of Launch Coordinates brought to you by Kamitra brand cigars. Computer Pete has been smoking way too many of those things in the studio. Arbitration, do you think you could hide the box when you get back down to Studio C?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'll do my best to hide it, but I might sample it myself. They smoke right out of the box, man. They're sweet.
Well, and you can smoke them in your ship because they don't, they've got that weird new chemical that makes it so it doesn't destroy your air supply.
Who needs oxygen anyway?
Right? Well, Computer Pete obviously doesn't because he's been smoking so many of them. Be sure to visit us on SoundCloud and RadioSidewinder.com, as well as follow us on Twitter. I'm Commander Neuroplay, and this is Radio Sidewinder.